Hello and welcome to the University of St. Thomas Law School. I wanted to give you a quick background on my resume and give you a little bit perspective on my specific skills and expertise that I try to translate into the classroom. So I'm a PhD trained economist and lawyer. I was born and raised in Europe. Did most of my education both in economics and law in Europe, and then came to the United States, where I also finished my J.D. degree, and after that I worked at Cravath, Swaine & Moore in syndicated banking deals for the most part, did the Hertz securitization among several other major deals in 2005, and then went to Goldman Sachs in London, where I was in the securities division, mostly dealing with options and futures in ICE contracts. After that, I worked for a while in private equity in the United States, in Chicago, and then started my career in academia. As a young, untenured professor, I have published most of my work in federal securities regulation, particularly in hedge funds. I have about 30 papers or so in that context, major journals. After that, I have started to advise crypto hedge funds and regular run-of-the-mill hedge funds on the product side, and got into emerging technologies through this advisory work, where I started to realize how powerful the emerging technologies are, not just in finance, but also as infrastructure products and decentralized solutions. And so I have published total around 100 papers now in this context, and most of my scholarship is involved in finance and derivative solutions, as well as infrastructure solutions. I've published mathematical models that prove that decentralized infrastructure products are possible, and I'm currently working on a book on decentralization. So this gives you a quick sort of wrap up on my background. At St. Thomas, I teach most of the business law curriculum, so that's federal securities regulation, business associations, corporations, mergers and acquisitions, international finance, crypto finance, among several other courses in this context. But I also, and more importantly perhaps, because of the emerging technology relevance, including in law, I'm teaching coding for lawyers, disruptive innovation, among several other courses in this context. And so let me give you a quick perspective on 3 of those courses. Hello and welcome to Disruptive Innovation at the University of St. Thomas School of Law. This is a very exciting course, and it's a basic course for our technology curriculum. So the technology curriculum is an evolving part of the curriculum in which we have several courses that focus on teaching our students here the implications of emerging technology for law. Many of you have already heard about this. Many of you are aware of some of these trends. If you haven't, this course is a basic introduction for junior lawyers who have an interest in technology and the disruptive effects of technology on the legal landscape. And for many of you, this will be an issue throughout your careers, because as junior lawyers, you are the ones who are tasked with dealing with these technology implementation, and you will have to deal with the changing practices in law, just as previous generations had to deal with new databases, with the typewriter, from typewriter to computer. You now will have to deal with the instantiation of new legal solutions. So what are these legal solutions that we talk about in this course? So one thing that we start out with in this course is the direction of changes, how law and why law is changing and why lawyers should care, right? So that's basically our first introduction to these issues. And then I will examine with you all the most recent innovative developments. So each year it changes, each year we have new developments in new parts of this innovation trend. So I'll examine all of those with data, of course. And then in the next session, we really talk about what happens when tech is faster than the law. And this is something that's real. So I've written several articles on this. And that's a fundamental question, fundamental problem, if you want, that hasn't been fully addressed. So I'm giving you the part of the scholarship. I'm giving you a perspective on on what the implications could be. Yeah, and of course, we have to go a little bit deeper into emerging technology. So I'll give you an overview, and then we start talking about blockchain technology and AI. So we start with AI and then move into blockchain technology. And the way the course is structured is that once I gave you this sort of basic knowledge, body of knowledge on AI and blockchain and the changing landscape in law and the implications thereof, then I ask you to get together in groups and present initial thoughts, initial presentations on your perspectives and your reactions to these changes. Yeah? So if you had to think about your career, what would you do different given your understanding of the trends in law that have an impact on the practice, on your chosen practice of law? Yeah? So the presentation is intended as a group project in which you can pick one or multiple areas of law, but you need to provide a perspective on why is it changing, how is it changing, and how can you adapt to the change. Yeah? And so that fills out the last quarter of our course or so. And again, the course is intended to give you a wrap-up and a warm-up to get you ready for other more in-depth courses in technology and the law. Thank you for your attention. I hope I see you in the course.